In this workshop, we're going to review making a calendar for students to help them with better time management. Calendar is one of the most basic things that you can do to help improve your time management skills. It helps document everything that you're doing so that you're able to organize your time as best needed to be successful, not only in school, but obviously in your life outside of school as well. The important thing to remember to start off is choose the format for a calendar that works for you. You can obviously use something like a personal planning book or date book, some of you that prefer something like that you can carry with you. You obviously have access to some of you like to use the wall calendars or calendars on your desk. That's perfectly fine. You also have calendars that you use at work. For example, you may have a special program there that you use to plan things. You can use that and add your schoolwork to it. You can also use some of the programs through your email with Post University, or certainly your phone, your iPhone, or your Android device. They have calendars built into them. Doesn't matter which program you use. The important thing to remember is that you want to use something that you're comfortable with. Create a calendar that includes everything you needed to do. Very important. You want to put in there things that are related to your work life, your family, any social events, and of course, school. Very important that you put everything in there, because if you end up keeping separate calendars for each thing, it's going to be very hard for you to sync them together so that you're able to know what's going on in one calendar versus another. So I recommend keeping everything together in one calendar that works for you functionally and also is something that's easy for you to update and switch things around it. You obviously want to make sure that as updates happen, you want to change your calendar as necessary. Now, that may end up being something where you need to prioritize one event for another. For example, if you have a doctor's appointment that you need to go to for a procedure and you end up having to move your schedule around um, uh, for doing something with schoolwork. So maybe that night or maybe that afternoon you had some time set aside where you're going to work on a particular assignment. Maybe it's better to move that to another part of your calendar so that you have time for your doctor's appointment, which obviously in that case would be more important. You also want to use calendars as a tool to help improve your planning and not just when things take place. Obviously, some people like to put dates in when things are due or when things are happening as reminders for them. But oftentimes, especially in schoolwork, for things like writing a paper, you may have additional steps beforehand that you want to accomplish so that you're able to successfully complete that project, or in that case, the paper. So, for example, when writing a paper, you want to make sure you're leaving yourself some deadlines in there when you should have um, your outline finished, when you should have your research done, and maybe set aside times in those days to be able to accomplish that. Very important. And we'll show you what that looks like in a minute. Here we have a sample calendar. So as you can see here, what we basically did was we assumed this person had a 9 to 5 schedule, Monday to Friday. There's many of you that are working alternative schedules, maybe have overnight shifts or may have different days of the week when you work. That's perfectly fine. You can adjust this to your needs. And again, this is just a sample here. So as you can see, most of the time, it's pretty much set as far as when things are happening. So we assume this person has family obligations, so we made sure we incorporated that into there. We looked at some things that were fairly standard. For example, during the week, the need to commute to classes or the need to commute to work, time for work, and specifying on that. But we tried to build in some flexibility in there. For example, when it comes to schoolwork, and this is where you guys are going to have to figure out where you want to fit things in. I made some adjustments at the beginning of the week of this person's schedule so that they were able to do their reading for their courses that they have. And what that did is that enabled them then to get a head start on their work for that week. And then after they were done with the reading, they were able to finish their discussion boards at night. So that's very helpful for students. So what that allows the student to do is they have that section off for that time during the week to work on those things. And that also enables them the opportunity now to submit their work early. So now you see we have the work for the discussion boards for both courses are done on Monday and Tuesday, so that now they have Wednesday to either take a breather or get ahead on some other assignments. So you have that built into the schedule so that things are getting done a little bit earlier than necessary, which is good. And this is going to help you become a better planner. So one thing I recommend too, as I mentioned, is getting a head start on everything as much as you can. So as you see here, this student has submitted work for both of their courses on Saturday night, which is good. That's a day ahead of schedule. And they did it during Saturday night because they had some quiet time there. Sunday was pretty much a relaxed day for the student. They did spend time with church. They had family obligations. They did that. They relaxed and enjoyed the day. And then at night, when things got quiet, they got ahead and started reading their coursework for the following week, because typically your courses will at least have something open up on the Sunday prior to the start of class for the next week. So I allotted time in there in their calendar so that they could go in and get a head start on their next week's work. Something that you want to consider when you're filling out your calendar is not only to get everything done for this week, but also to try and get ahead for the following week. And that's how you're going to help yourself to do better with time management overall and form good habits. Always important to remember, we say it at the end of every one of these workshops, is if you have any questions or need any assistance at all, please contact your advisor at 203-568-1652. Thank you.